Okay. So yesterday we already started discussing. So some people may not attended yesterday. So yesterday I gave some demo part. Okay.
Recording in progress.
Okay. So I quickly recap what we discussed in yesterday, and then we'll continue today. Okay. So we discussed clearly like what is SAS. Okay. SAS is normal statistical analysis system. Okay. We'll use for SAS to handle the huge amount of data. Okay, to do all the arithmetical and statistical programming. We also call SAS as a reporting tool. Why we are calling as a reporting tool? The general rule is how SAS will work. Okay, the SAS will take some data, will write some SAS program, it will generate a report. Okay, this data should be anything. For example, this SAS we are going to use in 5 industries. Okay, banking, financial, or clinical industry, in healthcare, insurance, and retail. Take a banking industry. Okay, for example, you're working for any bank. With the respect to bank data, for example, you are working for credit card department, means it will take credit card customers data as input. You will write some program, it will generate those reports. Okay, like this in the banking industry also, we are using this SAS tool. When you come to clinical industry, okay, you develop some drug. Okay, the medical companies will develop some drug. So to release the drug into the market, it has to get an approval from the FDA. To get that approval, what this has to do, they has to submit some reports. These medical companies has to submit some reports today. Now those reports only we are going to generate using SAS tool. How? By taking the clinical trials data as an input, we'll write some program. Okay, we generate those reports. Okay, these reports are standard reports like HDTM, ADAM, Taylors. Okay. Yes. So first, what we are going to do in a clinical SAS, first base and advanced completely programming we are going to learn in the first 45 days. Next, what are the reports we need to generate? So those are under clinical SAS, another 45 days. That's the reason this training of total 90 days. First base and advanced completely programming we are going to learn from today onwards, 45 days. Okay, next another 45 days we are going to learn the clinical SAS. Total 90 days course. Okay. So yesterday we discussed the completely all the demo part only. Okay, those whoever missed the class, please reach out to me. Yesterday's class recording also I'll give. Okay, and yes, we started discussing the navigation of the SAS tool. So this is the SAS tool 9.2 version I have, 9.2, 9.4 version also I have, latest versions. Not much difference. Today, by end of the class, okay. For everyone, I'll give the SAS tool as well. Okay, I'll install in your system as well. How to install everything I'll give. Books and all also. Even the books as well. Clear? Okay. So observe this SAS tool. What are things are available in the SAS tool? Okay, I'll repeat again this top part because most of people are new today. So I'll repeat further. Okay. See, this SAS tool majorly contains 4 windows. One is editor window, second is log window, That is an output window for this Explorer window. Okay. What editor window will be useful? Whatever you are typing currently, that is an editor window. Editor window will be useful to write this SAS program. If you want to write any program, we have to write in this editor window. After writing the program, what you have to do? You have to submit your program, or you have to execute, or you have to run your program. How can you execute the program? How can you submit the program? Simply select the program like this. You can see a submit button top here. You have to click this submit button. Simple. Okay. Next. Log window. What log window will be useful? Okay. After submitting the program, whether the program runs successfully or not, or it has any errors or warnings, we can check in this log window. Okay. Next. Third is output window. Generally, in a total SAS program, only two steps you have. One is data step and proc step. Total program same, only two steps, data step and proc step. Using proc step, if you generate any reports, we can check those reports in the output window. If you generate any report, that report I can check in the output window. Okay. So about 3 points, I'll conclude with an example. Okay. Let's see here. In the libraries, in SAS cell folder, I'm taking one data set as input. Okay. So this is the data set I want to print. This data set has some students information, students name, sex, age, height, weight. There are 19 students information have. Okay. Now, see, I'm writing a small program. Proc print data is equal to SAS cell dot class run. Don't worry about the program. I'm not explaining the program here. Just understand how the windows are working. Okay. See, just run this part of code. I wrote a code in the editor window. First, I wrote the program in the editor window. After I wrote the program, what you have to do? Select this program, click the submit button. Okay. So now I use the editor window for writing the program and for submitting the program. Next, go and check the log window. In the log window, it will come like this. What program you are executed and what it was executed. See, now your output, see, doesn't have any warnings or any errors in the log. That means the program runs successfully. If you have any errors or any warning, that means the program not run successfully. So what it is giving the note, it's clearly to give the note what was it is doing. Okay, there are 19 observations you are reading from the SAS cell class data set. Okay, procedure print is used. Proc is nothing but procedure. Procedure print is used. Clear? See, procedure print means print. It was printed that where in the output window. The same, I shown you the data set, right? Same data set, it was printed in the output window. Very simple. Same students, 19 students information, sex, age, height, weight. All the 5 variables are printed in the output window. Clear? So this is how these 3 windows will work. Editor window for writing the program, log window to check the program runs successfully or not, output window to check the output report. Okay. Next, last, Explorer window. So this is very, very important. So through this Explorer window only, we are going to access the data. Either input data or will store the output data. For example, you are working for one project, your team lead gives some data as an input. What you will do? From where you are going to access? From here only, from this Explorer window. Or else you wrote some program, finally you got some output. We will store that output again in this Explorer window only. Okay, in this Explorer window only, this libraries only plays a major role. Through this libraries are nothing but in a normal words of folders. How in your system we have folders, right? Similar way in a tool also we have folders. Okay. So this libraries only plays a major role for accessing your input data and for storing your output data. Okay, there are two types of libraries. You have permanent library and temporary library. Okay, permanent library is again two types: system-defined library and user-defined library. So what is system-defined libraries? Here you can see here SAS help, SAS user, okay, or even maps are system-defined libraries. Why we are calling as a system-defined libraries? Because so these libraries or these folders, it will create by its own whenever you install a SAS tool. Whoever install a SAS tool, by default for everyone, these libraries will come, these folders will come. Because system itself it is giving these libraries, these folders. What it contains the sample data sets. So those who are new to the SAS, any students or anyone want to practice anything, they can use this data set and they can practice. Okay. This is what system. Okay. So here SAS self, SAS user are system defined libraries. Why we are calling as a system defined library? The SAS system itself it is providing, it contains the sample data sets. Very simple. Next, user defined library. What is user defined library? User can create his own library. User can create his own library. Same previously given example, right? You are working for one project, your team lead gives some data. What do you do? You will create your own library. You will create your own folder. You can store that input data in that folder. I can create a library with my name or any name. I can create. Okay, clear? How to create? I'll explain later. We'll discuss in the next class. Okay, so we can create our own folders on own libraries. That is user-defined library. Similar in a system also, we can create our own folders, right? All create our own folder same way. First of all, for example, here I want to create my own folder. You can create your own folder, right? So that's I want to create means I can create here. I can store any files or any documents here. Same way in a SAS tool as well. I can create my own folder, own library. So that is we are calling as a user-defined library. User can create his own library, his own folder. Okay, you can store all your input data sets, or else one more library you can create. Your output data sets you can store there separately. Different libraries you can create. You can store whichever the data you want. Okay. Next, temporary library. Here, work is the temporary library. Why we are calling it the temporary library? Because if we store any data set in the work library, it will be available until your SAS section is open. Once you close the SAS section and open again, the data set which you are stored in the work library, it will be removed automatically. Means it will available only for temporary purpose until your SAS section is open. Once you close the SAS section, that's it. The data set will be deleted automatically from the work library. Okay. See a small example how these libraries are working. See, for example, in a SAS help library, there is a class dataset is there. Okay, I want to copy this dataset to a work library. That's my requirement. Very simple. So this is a dataset. It is there in a SAS help library. I want to copy to a work library. Okay, just understand how the libraries are working. Data, it's a data step. Only two steps, either proc steps or data steps. That's it. Data. So in the work library, I want to create a data set. So work dot class one. My data set name is class one. I'm going to create a new data set called class. Set is the copy command. From where you want to copy? In a SAS self library. So SAS self dot. What's the data set you want to copy? Class. Class. Semicolon run. Simple run. Run the program. See the log. See, there are 19 observations you're reading from SAS self library class dataset. See, in the work library, the class one dataset is created. It has 19 observations and 5 variables. Okay, here I have created a data set in the work library. Okay, it will be available only for temporary purpose. Once you close the SAS system, open again, the data set which you are creating in the work library, it will be removed automatically. That's the reason we are called work as a temporary library. Clear? So this is about libraries. And yesterday in the navigation, we discussed about these things, right? New means new programming, new editor window open. Open means we can open existing programs. In existing programs we can open. If you want to save, we have a save option here. Okay, last 4 programs which you open, you can see here. And these are the shortcuts will work. Control C for copy, Control V for paste. Control F for find, Control H for replace. Same shortcuts. In Word document, what shortcuts will use? Here also all the shortcuts will work same way. Here see, by mistakenly if you close any window, any editor, log or output or any explorer window, if you close, you can come and open here. These things you have to know before we are starting anything. See, here also you have submit button. Which version of SAS tool you are using? You can check it here. Yeah. So these are the basic things. These things you have to know before we are starting anything in the tool. Okay. So up to here we discussed yesterday. So any doubts, anyone? Okay. Do you have any questions, any doubts till now? What about others? No questions? Clear?
Yep.
Okay. See the today new thing will see. Okay. See the terminologies. So we have to know some terminologies here. Okay. If you observe this one, yes, it looks like a table only, correct? Generally, your table will contain rows and columns. Table will contain rows and columns. Correct? But from now onwards, remember, from now, today onwards, throughout your SAS career, we never call this as a table. We are going to call as a data set. So this is a data set. It's not table from now onwards. We have to use a terminology called SAS data set. Okay. We have rows, right? How many rows we have? 19 rows. But we never call as a rows. We're going to call them as a observations. Okay. Observations. So there are 19 observations are there. Okay. There are 19 observations. Correct. Columns we are going to call as a variables. So here how many variables are there? Name, sex, age, height, weight. These are the variables. Columns we are going to call as variables, rows we are going to call as observations. If you observe in the log window also, SAS also will use same terminology. See, data set, class 1 data set. 19 observations, 5 variables. See, the log also same terminology they are using. So that's the reason. From now onwards, we also have to use same terminology while speaking, while writing, while reading in the log also. Okay. Clear? Next. So I'll give you this tool, right? So tomorrow onwards, if you want to practice on this tool, okay, I'll give some keyboard shortcuts. It will be really helpful for you while you are practicing on this tool. Okay. In real time also, very regularly we'll use this keyboard shortcuts. Okay. So the first one. Control plus E. Okay. Control plus C. To clear the log or an output window. For example, here, see, you have so many things in the log was printed. What are the programs were executed, right? It's printed so many things. In the output window also, you printed something. You want to clear this one. You want to erase this one. You want to clear, just give Control E. See, and my keyboard, I'm giving Control E. See, it's cleared. It's erased everything. Even in the output window also, if you want to clear, just give Control E. It removed everything. Okay. Control E to clear the log or an output window. Next. Control plus F4 to close any window. For example, some new editor window you open. I want to close this window. Give Control F4. Or else you open a data set. I want to close this data set. Give Control F4. Okay. Next. F3 to submit your program. So previously what I told you, to select the program, instead of pressing the submit key, submit button here, you can press F3 as well. See, I'm pressing F3 on my keyboard. F3 also will submit the program. See, F3 to submit the program. Next, F6 to go to log window. So now I'm there in editor window, right? I want to go to log window. Give F6. So I'm pressing F6 my keyboard. If I press F7, it will go to output window. So F6 for log window, F7 for output window. Okay. Go to next F1 for help. I'm pressing F1 in the keyboard. It will open one help documentation. So if you want to search any keywords, any syntaxes, if you want to search, you can search here. The 20 search button will come. 1 minute it is opening. See here. SAS 9.0 help documentation. If you want to search anything, you can search here. If you need any help. Okay. Next. So the next thing is commenting. Okay. What is commenting? Here, whatever you wrote between slash star and star slash, whatever you wrote between these two special characters, slash star and star slash, whatever you wrote in between, it will be going to be commented. See, if you observe in the starting of the class notes also, see here, I wrote something as commented. I give slash star and star slash. It was showing in different color as well. It was showing some green color something. Correct? It is commented. So why I'm commenting? What is the purpose of I'm commenting? What is the use of this comment? Okay,
To being a heading,
maybe.
to be a heading, like
So we are giving heading. Okay,
name of the file or something like that.
So that's what. If we not comment, what going to happen?
Run the program. Program will ignore whatever you written between those.
Yes, correct. Okay. See, practically I will show you. For example, you are printing the data set. You wrote some big lengthy program you wrote. Okay. So in between, for example, you wrote this step, proc print or something. So before you're submitting your program, you want to explain. So what is this step? So those who are going to read your program, they want to aware what is this step. What you thought? Okay, you give some comment. Saying that what you did here, you printed the SAS data set, right? Into the SAS and class data set. You printed the SAS and class data set. This is what you did. So this information you want to communicate. That's the reason you give some comment. Okay, why I was mentioning in between slash star and star star to comment it. So if you comment it, what going to happen? Even though this comment part, if you select and if you run the code, your code will not affect, your program will not affect. Okay, means that commenting portion, it will not consider as a SAS program. If you did not comment, for example, if you did not comment it, and if you run the program, it's not giving the output now this time, it is throwing an error. So it is throwing some syntax errors. Why? Because SAS is considering this is also your part of your program. But actually speaking, this is not your part of your program. So to avoid these errors, whichever is not part of your program, whichever you don't want to execute every time, you have to comment it. Okay, this commenting, this comment part, you can give it anywhere. Not mandatory that you have to give it in the slide or side only. You can give at top or you can give it at bottom, wherever you want, you can give the comment. You can run your code. See, when you comment, it won't take that portion. Clear? That is the main advantage of comment. And also, mostly if you go and check in the real-time programs, in the most of your real-time programs, at the starting of the program, at the beginning of the program, people used to write like this. Who is the developer? Developer name. Okay. Development date. So who is the developer? Development date. If it is modified after some days, what is the modification date? Modification date. What is the SAS program name you want to give? SAS program. SAS program name. Okay. You have any keywords to say? You can give keywords. Or any descriptions you have, you can give some description about your program. Which version you are using. So these type of details you can give and you can close your. At the starting of the program, these details will change from company to company. Don't worry. Generally, in the starting, we'll give these details. Okay, we'll give all these details and we'll comment. Why we are doing like this? Because when you execute your whole code, this portion will not be executed. When you want to execute your whole code, so that time this part will not execute because we are commented. Okay, so this commenting will be helpful in that way. So whatever you wrote between slash star and star slash, it will be commented. Okay, why I'm discussing commenting here? So generally, how I'll comment. I want to comment something. Generally, how will comment? You have to come here, give slash tag, again go here, give slash. Instead of this, very simple way, you have a shortcut. Okay, control plus slash reference to comment. Control plus shift plus slash. Go on. Okay, just place a cursor anywhere in the line, at the starting, at the beginning, at last, anywhere. Okay, just give control slash. It is commented. Control shift slash. It's uncommented. Very simple. Control slash for commenting, control shift slash for uncommented. Okay, clear? One last keyword, F9. Okay, see F9. F9 will give all the list of shortcuts you have in the SAS system. In those already some are we discussed. Still, if you want to explore more shortcuts, you can check here. F1 for help, F3 to submit, F6 to go to log window, F7 to go to output window. Like this, some shortcuts we already discussed. Apart from this, still if you want to explore anything, you can come and explore here. Okay, clear? F9 for it will give the list of shortcuts. List of shortcuts. Okay, that's it. So these are the shortcuts regularly we'll use in real time. So from tomorrow onwards, you also while you are practicing on the SAS tool, you can also use these shortcuts while working on the SAS tool. Clear? Any doubts? Anything? Any questions, anyone? Pandit, Manasa, anyone have Ramesh, Ramya? Anyone have any questions?
No. No, sir.
Clear till now? So before we are entering to the programming part, first we have to know some rules and regulations. Okay. First, we'll see some standard rules you need to follow while you are writing the SAS program. Okay, let's see what are those rules you need to follow. If you observe, already I wrote a couple of steps, right? One proc step, one data step I wrote. If you observe here, if you observe may not observe closely, I already followed the rules. So what I'll do, I'll explain the rules and I'll show you here as well. So what rules I have followed. Okay, these two steps are already executed, right? They're already followed the rules. Okay, let's see here what are the rules. Rule number 1, while writing your SAS program, what are the rules you need to follow? The first rule, every statement end with a semicolon. Every statement end with a semicolon. See, every statement is end with a semicolon. That's rule number 1. Every statement end with a semicolon. Rule number 2. Both data step and proc step always end with a run statement. See, your proc step end with a run statement. Your data step also end with a run statement. Always your proc step and data step always end with a run statement. That's rule number 2. Rule number 3. Your SAS program is not case sensitive. Your SAS program is not case sensitive. What does that mean? So you can write a SAS program in small letters and capital letters. So here see, everything I wrote in small letters, it is printed the data set. Same program I can write it in capital letters also. Or a small letters, capital letters combinations also I can use. Because your SAS program is not a case sensitive. See, I'm writing everything in capital letters. Run the program. Okay. Sorry, semicolon. See? Sorry. Spelling mistake. SAS help. Okay. I'm writing the program in small letters, even though it is executed. I'm writing the program in capital letters, even though it is executing. It's printing the data set. Okay, clear? So that's the reason we are calling SAS program is not a case sensitive. You can write small letters, capital letters, both the combinations also you can write it. Okay. Rule number 4, last one. Single statement, we can write in multiple lines or multiple statements, we can write it in a single line or vice versa. Single statement, we can write it in a multiple lines or multiple statements, we can write it in a single line. Okay, what is that meaning? See, for example, here I'm writing the program in a 3 lines, right? Data set. In 3 lines, you are writing the program. Okay, see, it is created the class 1 data set. Now, same program, I can write it in a single line as well. See, single line or 2 lines also I can write it like this. Simple. Run the program. Now also it is working. You can write a program in a multiple lines or single line. No problem. So according to, for your understanding purpose, I'm writing like this in 3 lines. You can write it in a 2 lines also. Okay. But for your understanding purpose, just I'm writing in the 3 lines. That's it. You have to only one thing you have to make sure it is always separated with it. Your statement has to end with a semicolon. If your statement was ended with a semicolon, it doesn't a problem. You can write it in 2 lines or 3 lines or 4 lines, your wish. Okay, so that's what the meaning here. But single statement, I can write it in a multiple lines or multiple statements, you can write it in a single. Here. That's it. These are the 4 rules you need to remember while we are writing the SAS program. Okay. Clear? All the rules? Any doubts? Anyone? For everyone, I'm going to send the class notes to everyone every day. So don't worry about writing the running notes. Okay, I'm going to send the class notes daily. Okay, all the 45 days, total 90 days, I'll send a mail. Please just concentrate while visiting the class. That's enough. Notes I'll send anyway. Okay, every point, that's the reason I was typing and I will save. Okay.
ఈ ఫోన్ పెట్టేసి పోయినా దీనికి కూడా చేస్తున్నారు
Yes,
Could you please explain what is syntax error?
what is syntax error?
Syntax error.
Okay. So, you can see here, you're getting some errors, right? For example, here. So you are going to get some errors or warnings. Okay. So syntax, especially in syntax error is nothing but if you miss any semicolon, in syntax you miss anything, for example, you miss a semicolon. Run the program. It's showing an error. Okay. So you missed a semicolon. This is the rule I was telling, correct? Every statement has ended with a semicolon. You missed that rule. That's the reason showing an error. So set is not allowed a data statement when option check missing semicolon is in the data statement. It was clearly you missed a semicolon in the data statement. So here SAS program is just some structural program. Okay. Every statement has to end with a semicolon. It's a rule. You have to follow the rule. If you miss the rule, it will throw an error. Okay. How SAS program will work? Okay, understand. Okay, how SAS programming is working here is working step by step. Okay. That's the reason we are calling SAS program. It's a sequence of statements. Okay. This is one statement, and this is one statement, this is one statement. First, it is going to be execute this statement because it is rendered with a semicolon. This is one statement. Okay. Next, we are giving one more statement. And these statements also you have to give in a particular order. You cannot give, for example, you cannot give the set before then after the data, then run, or else you cannot give the run in between. You have to follow particular order while you're writing the SAS program. You have to follow the order that to all the statements only. You have to use a sequence of statements in an executed order. Then only you will get a correct output. If not, it will throw in errors. So those errors are maybe due to your syntax. Due to your syntax. Syntax is nothing but you may miss any. See, there are some keywords will be there. You may miss some keywords, or you may miss some semicolons and colons. These are syntax errors because SAS will expect some things. Okay, syntaxally you have to follow something. Some structurally you have to follow something. If you not follow those things, you will get a syntax error. Sometimes you miss the data. For example, you miss the data set name here. See, it's showing a syntax error and it's showing a normal error also. The option is not recognized and will be ignored. See, here it is not recognizing what you wrote here. Because after library name, you are supposed to mention the dataset name. Your dataset name is missing. Okay, that's the reason it was showing this error. And also it is throwing a syntax error. Why? Because see, you mentioned a dot and colon. Why it is coming dot and colon? That's the reason it was showing syntax error. Because generally in a before it has to end with a colon only. Why it was ending with a dot and colon? So something there was a mistake. That's the reason it's a syntax error. Okay, clear? Going forward, you will understand. Okay, now we are in the starting stage only, right? It's too early to discuss all these things. You may get confused. Fine. Okay. Any questions, anyone? Any more? It's clear, right? Someone asked to know. No one had any doubts, so we'll move to the next topic. Okay, here example, we have created a data set, right? Class 1 data set I created. I gave the data set name as a class 1. So this data set name also you can't give blindly. We have a rules for that one as well. Okay, so rules you need to follow while you are giving the SAS data set name. Okay. What are the rules? Rule number 1. Your SAS dataset name must be less than or equal to 32 character strength. Must be less than or equal to 32 characters. So more than 32 characters, you can't create a dataset name. Okay. Rule number 2. Your SAS dataset name, always starts with a alphabet or an underscore. Okay, always remember, start dataset name, always, it's a mandatory rule, always start with an alphabet or underscore. You never start with a number. You'll never start with a number. Always start with alphabet or underscore. Okay. Rule number 3. Your SAS dataset names contains, so your dataset name, you can write with fully alphabets, you can write it, or alphanumerics also you can use. Alphanumerics is nothing but combination of your alphabets and numbers. And underscore also you can use. But remember, not any special characters. Other than the underscore, you're not supposed to use any other special character. Only underscore you can use. Other than underscore, you're not supposed to use any other special character. Okay, clear? You're not supposed to use any special character. So I conclude with these 3 rules with some simple do's and donuts. Then you can easily remember. Okay. Remember, you can write a data set name like this. Okay. Always start with the alphabet. You can write a data set name as class. You can start with underscore as well. Underscore class. Fully alphabets you can write it, or alphanumerics. Alphanumerics is nothing but combination of alphabets and numbers, right? So you can write it like this, class 1. Or else you can use underscore as well, class underscore. Or else class underscore 1. So you can use underscore, but apart from underscore, you cannot use any special characters. Clear? So always start with alphabet or underscores. You can use alphabets, fully alphanumerics. So these many ways you can create a data set name. See the do nots. The first main important thing. You never start with a number. Like 1 class, 2 class, like this. You cannot supposed to start with any numbers. You're not supposed to start with any special characters also. You're not supposed to start with any special characters. You're not supposed to use also. Like class underscore. You're not supposed to use as well any special characters apart from underscore. And the last but not least, it cannot be more than 32 characters. Okay. Understand what are the rules you need to follow? Very simple. Always start with alphabets or underscore. Never start with the numbers and don't use any special characters. It is important. Okay, the last one. The SAS dataset names are not case sensitive. Obviously, right? Your program itself is not a case sensitive. Dataset name also not case sensitive. You can write it in small letters, you can write it in capital letters. Okay, but okay, your dataset name is not case sensitive. But the data or observations inside the data set is case sensitive. So what is that meaning? Your data set name is not case sensitive, okay, but the observations inside this data set are case sensitive. Observe here, your name variable, your names are prop case, first letter is capital, remaining is small. If you observe your sex variable, everything is in a capital letter. Correct? But suppose if this data, if you are going to use in your programming, for example, you are writing some program, if sex is equal to M, then give me the output. Now you are using this data right in your program. That time you have to use capital M only. Then only you will get your correct output. If you use a smaller, you end up with a wrong output because you don't have small m only here, right? In the data. Okay, while you are using like this, you have to make sure it's a case sensitive. Okay, so the data or observations are inside the data set is case sensitive. If it is a capital, you have to use in a capital letters only while you are programming. If it is a small, you have to use in small. If it is a prop case, you have to use it in a prop case way only. Okay, clear? Your data set name is not case sensitive. You can write it data set name anything. But this observations or data is a case sensitive. Clear this point? Clear, any doubts? No.
Sorry, a quick question on that. So every time you refer to the data set on the program becomes case sensitive. Is that correct to interpret that way?
Okay, I'm referring the data set name you're telling.
Yeah, so like,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes, for
Yeah,
example, yeah. Here so many data sets are there, right? For example, air data set only. Okay, A is capital, IR is a small letters. Data, some small data set I'm creating, some text data set. So for example, I'm referring self library air data set. Even though if it is A is capital, if I use a small AR also, it will. So I'm referring this data set, right? Even though if it is in capital letter A, I'm using the small a only.
Okay.
Still, it will consider same because your program is a case sensitive. Your data set name is case sensitive. Agree? See?
Yep.
It's taking the same SAS like A data set. The work library test data set is created. Okay. So your data set name is case sensitive. That's the reason.
So that means
Not a case sensitive.
we have to consider inside data only, sir, for case sensitivity.
Yes, the data, the observations you have to consider the case sensitivity.
Okay. That means
Data.
not that initial name inside the.
The data set name is not a case sensitive. The data set name generally will write it here. Data set names here. So this is not a case sensitive. Okay, you can write small letters and capital letters. But observations, when you take anyway, sometimes you'll write some programs like this. That time when you take your data in your programming, that time you have to follow the case sensitivity rule. Okay, how your data, you cannot change the data, right? Okay, here this capital N's are there. How you'll take a small m? Okay, that's the reason. For example, your names are like first letter alias, prop case are there, ALIC, A capital, remaining small. You cannot search with a ALIC. If you search with ALIC, there is small a you give it to given, and it won't find any ALIC. Alice. It will give a wrong output because we don't have a small a start with alias. Okay, that's the reason. Clear? Okay. Clear? Any more doubts, anyone? Okay. Fine then. So that's it for today. So it's in the class notes. Yesterday I sent to everyone, right? Those who are attended yesterday's class. Hope everyone received the class notes, yesterday's notes. Manasa, Vandit,
Yes, sir. I
Kishan, Ramya.
Yes.
Yes, Ashok. Okay, those who are joined today, from today onwards. So please ping me your email IDs. I'll send the class notes. Okay. Okay. Fine. That's it for today. So we'll continue tomorrow, same time at 8 o'clock. Okay. Please join the class. Tomorrow I'll share the books and tools. I'll speak to everyone individually. I'll call now after some time. Okay. Tomorrow I'll send the books and tools. Okay. As of now, today I'll send the notes. So please ping me your email IDs. Those who are joined today, I'll share the notes. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you, Sudarshan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.
Thank you.
No questions, you can drop. If anyone have any questions you want to discuss, you can stay back also.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Daddy.
Thank you. Any questions you have? Santosh, Ramesh, Shiva, Deepa.
No, sir.
Recording in progress. Recording stopped.
Any questions have anything? Ramesh, Santosh, Nagarjuna. If no questions are there, please drop. Go.
Thank you, Anna.
Thank you. Thank you, Nagarjuna.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.